Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar organized by EDB to educate and promote the National Quality Award. We all know quality has been a key word in today's trade, particularly in the international trade. We are aware more than ever the Sri Lankan companies are trying to enter international markets today. So, for this purpose, the quality is a prime requirement. On the other hand, the local consumers also have a right to access for quality products and services. In this background, Sri Lanka Export Development Board has identified the need of developing the quality infrastructure and promoting the quality aspects of products and services. Towards this, EDB closely works with the National Quality Standards Body, that is Sri Lanka Standard Institution. In EDB's journey of introducing products to export market, we encourage the companies to obtain the quality certifications. For this, EDB advised the companies to obtain quality certificates and obtain awards. Go for quality aspect improvement as much as possible. With quality certificates and awards, our exporters, the exporting companies, have a competitive edge. You can distinguish from your competitors. You can differentiate your products. So in this background, we are organizing this webinar session today. For today's webinar, the presenter will be Mr. Sujeeva Mahagama, Senior Deputy Director of Sri Lanka Standard Institution. The order of the session is Mr. Sujeeva, the resource person from the SLSI, will deliver the session around 1 hour. And after that, there will be time for question and answers. During that time, you can type your questions in the Q&A options. Mr. Sujeeva, if I am to introduce Mr. Sujeeva Mahagama, he holds a BSc special degree obtained from the University of Colombo and a MSc from Industrial and Environmental Chemistry from the University of Calgary. He is an MBA holder of University of Bedfordshire, UK. In addition to that, he has a postgraduate diploma on Business and Financial Administration, and also currently he is a lead auditor for ISO 9001 Quality Management, ISO 14001 Environmental Management, and ISO 45001 Health and Safety Management Systems. He is an assessor and trainer for National Quality Awards. Over to you, Mr. Mahagamage, to continue this awareness session with the participants. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sachini. Good afternoon, everybody. As Ms. Sachini introduced me, I am Sujeeva Mahagama, Senior Deputy Director of SLSI. I will explain about the National Quality Award. What is National Quality Award, the criteria in nutshells, and what you have to do. As he said, during the session as well as at the end of the session, there is a question and answering session. You can type the questions. I will answer. Right? First of all, I will share my screen. Give me a second. Meanwhile, the session, if anybody feel any uncomfortable with respect to sound issue or anything, please let me know, or let me inform please inform the EDB, so I'll attend, right? So if I consider National Quality Award, it's an annual award. So I'll explain about the award to be carried out on 2022, that means this year, right? If you consider this award, right? If you consider this award, this annual award, as I said, this was implemented in 1995. Though I said that it's annual award, during the last year we couldn't on time because of this COVID and other issues in the country. And this award is based on the Malcom Boldridge National Quality Award of US. If you consider most of the countries, especially developed countries, they have a national quality award, national award. As an example, in case of USA, that is National Quality Award. If you consider Japan, that is Deming Prize, like that. The most of the countries, developed countries specifically, they have national award to recognize the quality or to recognize the performance excellence. So our award is based on Malcom Boldridge Award. We started in 1995. The purpose of this award is basically to promote the quality. Actually, quality means not the quality of your product or quality of the service. Not only the quality of your product or quality of the service, quality of your all the activities, right? Or we would say it is the totality in quality, or other way around, it is the total quality management, right? As an example, if you consider your organization, if you do purchasing, how about the quality of your purchasing? In case of human resource management or workforce engagement, how about the quality of your human resource management operation in your organization? If you consider manufacturing, how about the quality of your manufacturing process? So quality means that quality of your all of the aspects, all of the activities you are carrying out. For that purpose, this National Quality Award provides a very good model or improvement model for your organization. If you follow this model rather than the award, it will be leads to the performance excellence of your organization. So because of that, this award is called National Quality Award, but adding something, that means National Quality Award for Performance Excellence. National Quality Award for Performance Excellence. Having performance excellence, you will be more competitive in your organization, maybe with respect to export, maybe with respect to local market, like that, right? So ultimately, in case of the National Quality Award, there's a requirement that it's not a specific requirement with respect to our country. It's generic requirement to all the other countries. If you are the winner, you have to share about your experience with respect to positive experience with the others. For what purpose? To guide them, right? So that is the sharing information on successful performance strategies. It doesn't say that you have to share you all the secrets, right? So that means you have to share your strengths. How do you achieve those levels, right? So it's other way around. If you know the concept called benchmarking, that is providing opportunities to others to benchmark your organization, right? So this award has 4 categories. Initially, actually, we started this award for manufacturing. Then it was divided into 2 as manufacturing and service sector. Then service sector further divided into service, healthcare, and education sector, right? So ultimately, there are 4 sectors. 4 sectors: manufacturing, healthcare, and education sector. Under those 4 sectors, once again, one sector is categorized into 4 as large, medium, and small, depending on the number of people. Depending on the number of people. That means if your organization has less than 50 employees, full-time employees, that means it's small organization. 50 to 2050 full-time employees, that means medium, and more than 2050 large. So competition is in between small sector organization, manufacturing, medium sector organization, manufacturing, like that. Otherwise, it is not the case that a large sector manufacturing organization and small sector manufacturing organization has to compete together, right? There is no such thing, right? So there are 4 sectors. one sector is divided into 3. The most significant thing with respect to this achievement, National Quality Award, it's an award, it is not a certificate, right? So it's like a race, right? You should be the winner. To be the winner, you should know how do we provide marks, how do we grade your organization, right? So the grading of the organization is carried out considering 1,000-point scale, right? We provide marks to the organization out of 1,000, right? Out of 1,000. Then scoring band as the color shows, right? If you receive less than 350 marks, you don't receive any award, anything, but you will receive a good report, feedback report, saying what are your areas to be strengthened, right? If the scoring band is in between 3,050 to 449, you will receive a commendation certificate, right? Commendation certificate. It's just to appreciate your organization. However, if you score that level, that means your system, your organizational system begins to improve, mature, and there are a lot of area to improve, right? Then if you score more than 450 marks and up to 599, you will receive merit award. You will receive merit award. That means that marks means you have effective system, well deployed, well implemented system. Approach is there, but there are rooms for improvement, considerable rooms for some areas for improvement, right? Development, right? And if you receive more than 600 marks, then you can be the winner, right? You can be the winner. More than 600 marks means you are a model TQM, right? Model TQM organizations to the other organization. Your performance is excellence. Other organizations can benchmark your organization, right? That is the level. But still, there may be small lapses, right? It doesn't say that you should have 0 lapses, 0 failures, 0 areas for improvement, right? But there is no considerable issues in your organization, right? So that is the scale we use, right? In case of the scale, to provide the marks, we have a criteria. Under that criteria, there are 7 major criteria. Each major criteria is divided into 2 or 3 sub-criteria. Altogether, there are 17 sub-criteria, right? 17 sub-criteria. Those 7 major criteria. First thing is the leadership of your organization. Other side, you can see some points that is out of 1,000. For leadership, 120 points. Then strategy of your organization, right? In case of your organization, you may have different name, maybe strategic planning, corporate planning, like that. So that is that strategy of your organization, 85 points. Then customers in your organization, maybe sales, maybe marketing, maybe customer relationship management, like that. That is customers, 85 points. Then the measurement, analysis, and knowledge management, that is the gearing wheel of the organization. How do you monitor your whole operation of the organization? That is measurement, analysis, and knowledge management, 90 marks. Then the workforce, or in your language, it may be the human resource management or human relation management. There are 85 marks. Then operations, operation means almost all critical operations of the organization, maybe production, purchasing, storing, delivery, exporting, right? Quality controlling, like that. Those are the operations of the organization. We call key processes, or maybe your key department or sections of the organization, right? Then ultimately the results. You see, results has 450 points, right? 450 points, right? So in that sense, you can understand that out of these 7 criteria, right? What is the most significant? Results. Results 450 marks. Results 450 marks. But you cannot achieve results by forgetting about the other requirement. You shall comply with 1 into 6. Results related to 1 into 6 requested under the section 7. That is the results, right? That is the results. So we will see in nutshells what are those 7 criteria considering the given time frame, right? If you consider leadership, right? If you consider leadership, it is divided into 2 once again: senior leadership and governance and societal responsibility. Senior leadership, it's well known to your organization. I don't think that I have to explain it in detail. It is regarding your values of your organization. What are your organizational values? If you consider national quality criteria also, it also depends on some values, right? It is regarding some values. Based on the values, you have to decide what is your mission or long-term path, or what is your vision, short-term path, and how about the internal and external communication of your organization. Those are in detail explained under this criteria, right? So that is the senior leadership part. Then the governance and social responsibility, societal responsibility means governance and legal, under that governance, legal and ethical behavior, right? How does your senior management, how do your senior staff governs your organization, manage your organization? That is the governance. Then legal means what are the applicable legal requirements, statutory and regulatory requirement for your organization, and how do you make arrangement to comply with those, right? That is the legal. And ethical. As an organization, those are not legal, but as an ethical organization, what are the practices you follow? Maybe with respect to your employees, maybe with respect to your customers, maybe with respect to your neighbors, like that, right? Ethical behavior, right? Then societal contribution means it is not actually regarding only the society. Societal contribution means it is regarding your community. That means your people, maybe your employees, maybe your suppliers, maybe your the neighboring organization or people in the organization, right? The neighbors of the organization, right? As well as you have to consider about the other factors such as your organizational environment, economic situation, as well as social situation, or other way around, the triple bottom line, right? Social, environmental, and economic situation, or the profit situation, or other way around, 3 P's, planet, people, and profit, right? So it is focused about that part, right? So societal means that not only the society, not only your community, but also the other parts also, especially you can remember about the triple bottom line. I believe that all of your organization, all of you all having that understanding about the management, right? Maybe you may be the experts than myself with respect to the management. In that sense, you know about the sustainability of the organization. For the sustainability, this 3 P's or the TBL, triple bottom line, is very significant, right? That is the leadership. Then having that leadership, how do you develop the strategy? Having that leadership, how do you develop the strategy, right? How do you develop the strategy? Under that, strategy development comes into the picture, right? Comes into the picture. Strategy development means you have to have a process to develop the strategy. It may be bottom up or it may be top to down, right? For that purpose, you may use different mechanism. It may be the you may use SWOT analysis, you may use scenario planning, right? Scenario planning, like that. You may use different strategies, right? If you consider this criteria, it doesn't mention about the strategy relevant to your organization. You have to decide what is your strategy. How do you develop? Who are the participants? What are the mechanisms, right? How frequently you carry out the strategy development process, right? And it's your duty. It's your organization's activity, right? But you should have a process for the development of the strategy, right? Then based on that, you have to identify strategic objective. Strategic objective means long-term objective. Why do you need strategic objective? You have so many competitors. To be competitive with your competitors, you should have a strategy. If you are the one and only player, no need of strategy, right? No need of strategy, right? Because you can sell anything. Because you are the one and only producer and people require your product. But in case of your organization are not like that, right? So because of that, you should have strategic objective. Though the requirement called strategic objective, your name may be corporate objective or long-term objective or like that, right? So developing strategy and strategic objective developing, what you have to do is you have to implement the strategy develop, right? You have to implement the develop strategy, right? For that purpose, for each and every objective, strategic objective, covering long-term objectives as well as short-term objectives, you should identify long-term as well as short-term objectives. For those, you have to identify action plan, right? You have to identify action plan, right? You have to identify action plan and you have to implement those action plan. You have to implement those action plan. The language provided by this criteria is actually not implement, it is called deployment, right? You have to develop the action plan and then you have to deploy the action plan. Then you have to continue, right? You develop the strategy, then you develop the strategic objective. Under that, you develop long-term objective, short-term objective, and then you prepare action plans and you implement the action plan. But we can't assume that you can naturally implement those action plans. There will be different issues, right? If you consider today's context, predicted, unpredicted, almost all issues are available, right? Under that situation, you may not in a position to carry out the prepared action plan, deploy the action plan as it is, right? As it is, right? So in that sense, what you have to do is you have to do modification with respect to the action plan, right? You have to do the modification with respect to the action plan, right? So if you do modification of the action plan, then what you have to do is after modification, you have to see whether your action plan is in line with the strategy. Otherwise, you will be in two different directions, right? Always action plan shall be deployed. By achieving action plan, you should be in a position to achieve the strategy and your strategy, the developed strategy and the strategic objectives, right? Then the customers. Customers means in your case, maybe export-oriented organization, almost all organization, I believe that export-oriented organization, maybe your customers in overseas, maybe local customers, right? Almost all customers, right? This requirement says that, this criteria say that as an organization, you have to determine the expectations of the customer, right? Expectation of the customer. Customer means the end user and other customer, right? As an example, you may export, right? For a stockist, right? Then stockist is your customer. Then stockist may distribute, right? Distributors are your customer, right? Distributors may distribute. Ultimately, it goes to the end user. End user also a customer. Customer expectation, in that sense, you have to decide who are the customer, what are the type of customers, right? And you have to listen to the customer to identify their requirement. What are the ways and means you utilize to listen to the customer? What are the ways and means you utilize to listen to the customer, right? That may be by calling. That may be through your website, right? That may be through your website. That may be through your WhatsApp group, Facebook group, right? That may be through your marketing service, right? That may be through your online service. Different ways and means, right? You can select your ways and means, right? No issue with respect to the criteria. Criteria doesn't specify any ways and means. But it says that you have to decide what are the ways and means. What are the ways and means? You have to implement those, right? So as I said, the customers, there may be different type of customers, right? Maybe based on the usage, stockists, distributors, right? Retailers, right? End users. That may be one type of segmentation. Other type of segmentation may be considering the type of product they purchase, right? Type of product they purchase. Maybe your spices customers, maybe your tea customers, and like that, right? Maybe another type, maybe depend on the financial situation, right? Maybe the customers, those who provide big money to your organization, right? They are the key customers, right? Then what are the other customers, like that? So you have to segment your customer, right? Considering the product you offer. Considering the product you offer, right? So customer is the king, right? You have to maintain the relationship with the customer, right? But this criteria say that not the relation, you have to engage with the customer, right? You have to engage with the customer. It's like a marriage, right? So we say that marriage also, before the marriage, what we say, it is called engagement. No? So this is also engagement. You have to engage with the customer. You have to have marriage with the customer, right? Engagement with the customer, right? Under that there are 3 sections, right? First thing is, how do you maintain customer relationship, right? How do you maintain customer relationship? That may be through your marketing department. That may be through your sales department, right? That may be through your export sales department, right? So that's up to you to decide the mechanism, right? But you should have sound way to provide support to the customer, right? For that purpose, you should have sound way to maintain the customer relationship, right? Support to the customer. For what purpose you shall support? Maybe business wise, right? Maybe technically, right? Maybe financially. Sometimes customer may have issues with respect to storing item. So you have to assist them by storing his item in your place to provide on time. So like that, right? Any sort of support required by the customer. How do I identify those things? You have to listen to the customer, right? You have to listen to the customer's requirement. You have to gather the customer requirement, right? Then you have to monitor and measure customer satisfaction. I believe that rather than National Quality Award, almost all your organization monitoring customer satisfaction, right? Customer satisfaction, right? And based on that, you have to engage with the customer, right? You have to engage with the customer. So engaging with customer in the sense of, as an example, you may carry out workshop with the customer, right? You may carry out sometimes workshops with the customer, right? Sometimes you may go to the customer's premises, right? We would say he is the dealer, right? He has distributors, right? You are carrying out awareness to the his distributors at the dealer point, because dealer is your customer, right? So like that things are the engagement, right? Example for engagement is like that things, right? Then use the voice of the customer, right? Always I said that the first thing is listen to the customer. So you have to listen to the voice, you have to listen to the customer based on the customer feedback, based on the customer's requirement, right? You have to consider your requirement, right? You may have to change your product. You may have to change your manufacturing process. You may have to change your export procedure. You may have to change your financial guideline with financial rules, regulation, or anything you follow with the customer, right? Like that things, right? As well as you have to utilize the market information. Specifically, you are in a very competitive situation. Since you are in a competitive situation, you should know about the market situation, because as I said once again, earlier also said that you are not the one and only player, right? You are not the one and only player. So there are so many players. Because of so many players, you should know about the market situation. Otherwise, what will happen? Competitors will come with different products, right? Different products, better products rather than your products, and they will capture the market, right? To avoid that, to maintain the leadership in the market, right? To maintain the leadership in the market, what you have to do is you have to gather the market information, right? You have to gather the market information in the sense of customer. How about the change of customer requirement? How about the entrance of new products from the competitors, right? How about the changing requirement of the dealers, distributors, like that things, right? So customer requirements in details, it is available in our criteria. It's available in our website also. So then the fourth one is measurement, analysis, and knowledge management, right? If you consider any organization, right? If you consider any organization, once we have, at least we will forget about your long-term plan, right? Long-term plan, right? Corporate plan or long-term plan. We would say we don't have even annual plan. We would say we have a monthly plan. If you have a monthly plan, then we should monitor, are we in line with the plan or not? Are we in line with the plan or not? So because of that, we have to have some sort of mechanisms, right? Some sort of measures to see whether you are in line with the plan arrangement. I said that how about the plan arrangement with respect to National Quality Award? It comes under the strategy. Under the strategy, you should have strategy development process. Under that, you should have strategic objective. Strategic objective means long-term, short-term objectives, right? Corporate strategy, corporate objective, and operational objective, right? Long-term plan and annual plan, operational plan, like that, right? So I said that you have to have action plan for long-term, short-term both, right? So how do you monitor those things, right? Those are comes under the measurement, analysis, and knowledge management. Those are comes under the measurement, analysis, and knowledge management. First of all, the performance measures or performance indicators, right? How do you monitor each and every process of your organization, each and every operation of your organization, right? I said that in case of the requirement, one requirement is operation, right? Operation means almost all organization. As well as I said that main objective, one of the main objective of this award is promoting quality. I say that quality is not only the product quality, service quality, but also the quality of almost all activities, totality on quality, in quality, that is total quality management, right? In that sense, to monitor almost all operation, you should have some sort of indicators, measures. Those are called performance measures, performance indicators. Out of those, you can identify what are the most significant things, right? What are the most significant measures, significant indicators? Those are called key performance measures or key performance indicators, right? But in your language, your organization, your sections, you may use different words, maybe objectives, maybe as goals, maybe as measures, maybe as targets, different things, right? It's up to you. However, what is required is under this situation, you have to have some sort of measures to monitor your short-term and long-term proposal in plan in line with the prepared strategy and strategic plan, right? Then how do you measure those things? Then how do you analyze those things, right? When you have KPIs, key KPMs, you can have details, maybe daily, maybe weekly, maybe monthly. Then how do you analyze those things at the end of the month? How do you analyze at the end of the year? For what purpose? To see whether you are in line with the plan with respect to the last month, with respect to last year. And based on that, you have to take actions to go for the next month, right? Next month, that is the reviewing part, right? Analyze and reviewing part. Based on that, you have to have the improvement. So you have to monitor, measure, and analyze your measures, your performance, as well as you have to target your improvement, right? Improvement in the sense of available product, available operations, coming with new products, that is the innovation. Innovation also part of strategy, should be a part of strategy. Other way around, you will be a traditional organization providing the same product, right? Competitors will come up with different products and beat your organization, right? So because of that, performance improvement, so it is related to the innovation of the organization also, right? So basically, the 4.1 measurement, analysis, and improvement of the organizational performance is related to the monitoring and measurement of your almost all operation of organization, right? Monitoring and measurement of the all plans prepared by your organization. Monitoring and measurement of the whole action plan you prepared by your organization, right? So doing that, you can monitor whether you are in line with the action plan, whether you are in line with your corporate plan, operation plan, ultimately whether you achieve your strategy, right? For that purpose, you should have support from the information and knowledge management, right? Today, you can't forget about the information security management or information technology, right? Information technology or management information systems, right? You should have those things, especially the organization. I know that in case of EDB, you are always involved with EDB with respect to export. In that sense, you should have those things. Then how do you utilize information and data gathered from your organization, right? First of all, how do you gather those data? One measure, I said that, one thing I said that using KPIs, performance indicators or key performance indicator you can do. How do you gather those information and data, right? And how do you utilize those things for the performance of the organization, right? Performance of the organization. And more significantly, how do you manage the organizational knowledge, right? Organizational knowledge in case of this requirement, right? Organization knowledge means if you consider your organization, you may have 100 of employees, right? You may have 25 machineries, right? But if you consider all together, there may be very key people, right? Maybe 10 people, right? If you consider about lack of those 10 people, right? If you consider about your organization without those 10 people, you may in a real trouble. That means they are your organizational knowledge, right? Out of these 25 machineries, you may have one machinery very significant to the operation of your organization, right? So then that machinery also become a part of the organizational knowledge, right? You may have a recipe, right? That recipe, right? Or that formula, nobody is having, right? You are the one and only having that recipe. So that is also become a organizational knowledge, right? Organizational knowledge means, right, other way around, how do you maintain our status in the business situation, right? How do you maintain how do you improve our situation in the market, right? With respect to local or overseas, right? So for that purpose, you should manage the organizational knowledge. In that sense, organization knowledge is a combination of people, machineries, right? Your formula or recipe, sometimes your procedures, even sometimes your supplier, right? Supplier also sometimes can be a organizational knowledge. Why? Because supplier do a very critical part out of the your operation, right? Out of the your operation, right? So that is organizational knowledge, right? It is not the knowledge, it is not only the knowledge of the people, right? In the fifth section is the workforce. Workforce means in case of your organization, human resources, right? In case of your organization, maybe the human resource management, right? Earlier the term that is called administration, right? Then the term was personal management, right? Then the term was human resource management, right? Now the term was human relation management, right? Earlier those are called supporting activities, right? Earlier those are called supporting activities, human resource like that, right? Human resource supporting, those are called earlier supporting activities. Now those are called business enablers, right? Those are called business enablers. Business enablers means those are not key operation, but those are very significant, right? Right? Those are not key operation of the organization, but those are very significant, right? So workforce is a business enabler to your organization. In that sense, you have to consider about the workforce environment, right? This workforce means your permanent employees, your contract employees, right? Your hired employees, maybe any sort of employees. Why I am saying like that? Because under categorizing the National Quality Award, I said that we categorize as large, medium, and small. It is depend on your number of permanent employees. But if you consider workforce environment, it is not only about the permanent staff. It is about the work, the people, those who work under your organization, right? It is regarding the people, those who work under your organization. That is the workforce, right? That is the workforce. Your term may be permanent employees, right? Maybe contract laborers and like that, right? As an example, one of our winner, we would say Melbourne Biscuits, right? One of our winner, Melbourne Biscuit, we would say they have higher number of contract employees, right? Still their workforce, right? Still their workforce, right? So in case of workforce, you have to maintain the capability, right? You have to maintain their capacity, as well as you have to improve their capability and you have to improve their capacity, right? For that purpose, you have to create a better climate for your workers for that purpose, right? So other way around, right? You may heard about learning organization, right? Right? Quality circles, right? So different concepts are there, right? Kaizens, right? So different requirements are there, different mechanisms are there. Those mechanisms for what purpose? To get the contribution of the employees, right? To get the contribution of the employees, right? Such a climate should be created by your organization, right? It is very basic that you have to ensure the safety of your employee. It is very basic that you have to provide the basic requirement of the employee, right? By providing basic thing, you may not in a position to enhance the capability and capacity of the employee, right? But you should have a climate, you should have an environment to improve their capability and capacity, right? Then you can have the engagement, right? Then you can have a engagement, right? Otherwise, they will do merely a job, right? Merely a job, right? That is what has happened to most of the government organizations now, right? So in that sense, workforce engagement, right? So in case of workforce engagement, you have to assess how does the workforce engagement of your organization. In case of your organization, I know for sure that you are carrying out annual appraisal of the employee. it is very small part of this workforce engagement, assessment of workforce engagement, right? So it may be focused to provide the annual increment, right? It is very small part of this assessment of workforce engagement. Not only that, right? Rather than that, right? What you have to do is you have to study how about this employee, right? What are the capabilities, right? What are the potential capabilities this person is having? How about the capacity? What are the potential capacities this person is having, right? I remember one organization, right? The winner of our quality award, they said that, right? During the assessment, we found that they have a driver, right? They have a driver, always failures, right? With respect to drivers, no successful situation, always failures with respect to a particular driver. So they assessed the fellow. They assessed the fellow, ultimately found that the interest of the particular driver to be a machine operator. But unfortunately, he couldn't achieve that status. For a sake of job, he joined as a driver, right? They identified the person. They transferred the fellow as a machine operator. They identified the capacity of the fellow, capability of the fellow, provided the relevant machine, right? Ultimately, if we consider the situation where we went there for the assessment, he was a best machine operator, right? He was the best machine operator, right? Why? They assess the employees. That is why I said that the assessment of workforce engagement is not to decide the annual increment, not to decide the promotion, right? But to increase the capacity of the people, but to increase the capability of the people, right? For that purpose. So your organization should have a proper culture. That is called organizational culture, right? I said that organizational knowledge is very significant. No? To maintain the organizational knowledge, organizational culture also significant, right? Organizational culture also significant. In case of your organization, you should have a culture that everybody has, we would say everybody has equal opportunity to study about their related areas, right? In your organization, we would say the learning is encouraged by the management. As an example, we would say the managers, if they did higher studies, we would say MBO like that, after achieving the status, right? The financially assisted by the company, right? Or they can claim the cost. They can claim the cost, right? We would say small scale employees, we would say workers, machine operators, supervisors, and like that. Still, they can go for the relevant educational, professional educational activities. The company is assisting. So such culture as an example, right? Even organization itself is a learning culture, right? Everyday learning is going on, right? Seniors are guiding the juniors, right? Superiors are guiding the middle level managers, junior level managers, right? Supervisors, operators like that, right? Then ultimately, how do you carry out performance management development of the workforce, right? Performance management and development of the workers. How do you plan and carry out, right? So if I consider the sections explained up to now, what I said is what you have to do, right? I doesn't say anything about the results, right? What you have to do, right? Then how do you have to plan about the people? How do you have to plan about the customers? How do you have to plan about the strategy, right? Like that, that's what I am explaining, right? So if you consider the sixth section, that is operation, right? Operation means all the operational activities of your organization, right? Are they around key operation of the organization, key business process of the organization, key departments of the organization. I said that earlier, it is called that other departments, support departments. We would say IT, human resource like that. I would say today those are called as business enablers, right? Business enablers, not the business enablers, but mean business operation, right? Business operation, right? We would say sales, we would say manufacturing, we would say stores, we would say procurement, we would say outsourcing, right? We would say quality assurance, right? We would say maintenance, right? So like that activities, right? Like that operation, right? So this requirement, first thing, work processes. Under that, first thing is you have to decide what are our products. To produce your products or to provide your services, in case of your service organization, what are your services, right? What are your services? To provide your product to produce your product, to provide your services, you have to determine what are the processes required, right? What are the processes required? What are the operations required? What are the departments required, right? So you have to design those departments. But if you consider your organization at the moment having departments, sections, processes, key or support, key operation as well as business enablers, right? So you have to consider about the requirement of the National Quality Award, and you can further improve, right? You can further improve. As an example, considering the time frame, I cannot explain everything, but under the process designing, you have to identify how do we plan particular operation. We would say manufacturing. So then manufacturing plan shall be there, right? How do you monitor? For that purpose, you have to identify key, we would say you have to identify performance indicators, performance measures, right? Out of those performance measures relevant to the manufacturing, what are the key performance measures? Those are the KPMs or KPIs, right? You have to decide, right? Those are the designing part, right? Then process management. So considering those plan and KPIs or PIs or PMs, how do you manage the operations, right? Manufacturing, that means how do you carry out the day-to-day manufacturing, right? How do you carry out the day-to-day manufacturing? We would say in nutshell, production department in terms of purchasing department procure the material and hand over to stores, then quality department check the quality and hand over to the stores, then stores department issue to the production is produced, right? Produce department check by the quality assurance, hand over to the transport will transport to the end user like that, distributor like that, right? Those are the process management, right? Those are the process management, right? Not only the management, how do you further improve your processes, right? How do you further improve your processes, right? As well as it is specifically talk about the supply network management, right? Supply network management in the sense of maybe raw material supplies. Maybe you may have outsourced your operations, right? Then the business outsourcing, production outsourcing, right? Maybe you have outsourced your production. Maybe you have outsourced your transport. Maybe you have outsourced even your part of the human resource. Maybe you have outsourced your packing, right? So managing the supply network means not only the raw material supplier, but also almost all supplier, right? As I said, maybe human resource outsourcing, maybe production outsourcing, right? Maybe in that way, maybe outsourcing, maybe purchasing, maybe procurement, everything, right? Sometimes you may have your IT system, you have outsourced the IT system, right? Then most significantly, the innovation management, right? Innovation management, right? If you consider today's context, right, you can't survive without innovation, right? If you study about the background of all failed organization in the world, we would say Kodak, we would say Konica, like that. Why? They didn't go for the innovation, right? They didn't consider the market situation. They didn't identify those things, right? Because of that, they failed, right? They failed. So because of that, innovation is very significant, right? Innovation is very significant. So in case of the standard, it say that you have to do the innovation management, right? You have to do the innovation management. How do we have to do innovation management? It shall be based on your strategy, right? It shall be based on the strategy. I say that you have to develop a strategy. Part of the strategy is innovation, right? Part of the strategy should be innovation, right? So this innovation shall be in comply with the strategy, right? What are the other way around? What are the strategic opportunities available in the market, right? To cater those strategic opportunities, right? To cater to those strategic opportunities, right? How do you innovate our product, right? Maybe innovation of the available product, maybe come up with new product, very new product, right? Very new service, right? So that is the innovation, right? But doing innovation, the requirements say that you have to accept the intelligent risk, right? Innovation will be a risk. Why? In case of failure of innovation, what will happen to your brand image, right? What will happen to the brand image? How do you maintain it, right? So failure of one product may be sufficient enough for the failure of the organization, right? So because of that, it says that in case of innovation, the National Quality Award says that you have to consider about the risk behind the innovation also, risk behind the innovation also, right? So work process means totally planning of the operation, right? Planning about the operation. with respect to in and out of the organization, right? In and out of the organization. Then you have to monitor the effectiveness of this almost operation, right? Once again, you can use the performance measures I said, maybe key performance indicators, maybe performance indicators, and like the target, objectives, goals, everything, right? Anything, right? So using those things, you have to monitor and measure the efficiency and effectiveness of all operations, because those are very significant. I said that those are not the support operation. I said that those are not the business enablers. Those are the most key significant operations of your organization, right? So because of that, you have to monitor the efficiency and effectiveness of operations, right? Then if you consider today's context, basically you are carrying out your operation considering automated system. Maybe you have ERP system, right? Enterprise resource planning. Maybe you have software operated machines. Maybe you have fully operated machines, mechanical machines, machineries. Even you may have fully operated factories, fully mechanized factories. Sorry, not fully operated, fully mechanized factories, right? In that sense, how about the security and cyber security, right? Include in your website, but don't think that it is not only about the website of your organization, right? Because if you consider security, you may remember that your website is the most important, not only that, right? You may have computer operated machineries, IT related machineries, IT related system, right? With respect to manufacturing, procurement, purchasing, production, distribution, everything, for everything, right? For all those, how about the security and cyber security of those operations, right? Otherwise, competitors will penetrate, right? Competitors will penetrate, right? Then least but not the last, safety of the operation, right? Safety of the people as well as the operation, right? Other way around, how do you ready for the any possible disasters of the organization, to the organization, right? Maybe fire, right? Maybe fire, right? Maybe flood sometime, depending on the area, right? Such things, right? Emergency preparedness, right? And emergency preparedness. Best example, today's context, right? No fuel, sometimes no electricity, right? Almost nothing available sometimes, right? Then how do you ready for that emergencies, right? How do you ready for that emergencies, right? We experience that as SLSI employees. Sometimes our manufacturers, they don't have finance to import. They don't have dollars to import. For that purpose, they obtain the assistance from their own companies because they have dollars, right? And through that, they import their material and manage the activity. That is also emergency preparedness, right? Not only readiness to the either labor strike or either flood situation or either some sort of public unrest or employee unrest or like that, right? Even economic unrest, right? That sort of situation also comes under that emergency preparedness. Why I'm saying like that, sometimes people think that, sometimes you may all think that emergency preparedness, we have ready for fire, right? Safety means we have ready against the electricity, right? Like that. We have ready against the machinery with respect to the accidental like that. Accident is a minor part with respect to the safety and emergency preparedness, right? Lot of other things. For what purpose? Continuation of the business, right? Continuation of the business, sustainability of the business, further improvement of the business, right? So those are the 6 operations. Those are the 6 operations. So 6 requirements, right? 6 requirements. Under that, what you have to do? Basically, first part is regarding some sort of planning relevant to that. Second thing regarding the monitoring, right? Example operation. First thing is regarding the planning. 6.2 is regarding the monitoring effectiveness. For that purpose, not only for 6, leadership, strategy, customer, workforce, and operations, you can use the section 4. That means monitoring section, measurement section, right? You can use that sections to decide and identify how do you monitor those operations, how do you monitor those workforce, how do you monitor the customer, right? How do you monitor the effectiveness of our leadership? How do you monitor the effectiveness of our strategy and strategic plan, corporate plan, business plan, and everything, right? So those are the requirements. Ultimately, it asks about the results. What are those results? Results relevant to those 6 sections, right? Nothing else, right? Results of those 6 sections. So marks, points under these results is, I said that 450 out of 1000. That means you may be a very good planner. That means you can score maximum 550 if you score 100%, right? If there is no results, you may lose 450 marks out of 1,000, right? So very significant, right? Very significant, right? Once again, it asks about the results of the earlier 6 sections I explained. First thing is product and process results. Basically, that is regarding the operational results, right? Operational results, right? Second thing, ask about customer results. That is relevant to the customer section. Section 3, customer, right? Result, there you plan and carry out your activities. What are the results, right? Workforce results. That is relevant to the section 5, workforce. There you plan your workforce. I said that workforce means all the workers comes under your organization, right? Not only the permanent employees. There you plan and there you monitor, identify how do you monitor, how do you evaluate, right? Then workforce results means what are the results with respect to those planned activities, right? Those planned arrangements, what are the results? Leadership and government results means basically results with respect to the leadership, right? First section, leadership, right? We said that you have to have vision, mission, right? For what purpose? To achieve, right? To achieve, not as a statement, right? To achieve, right? How about the achievement of vision and mission, right? At least the mission, right? How about the achievement of mission, right? Vision and mission, how about the achievement, right? Then financial, market and strategy results, right? Strategy, this is actually relevant to the section 2, 1 and 3, right? Strategy results, basically the strategy, right? Financial results, there is no separate section I explain as financial, right? But if you have better operation, there are good product to sales, then customer sales will be better, then finance will be better. I said that under the leadership, societal responsibility. There I said that triple bottom line, right? Triple bottom line, economic situation, environmental situation, as well as the social situation, right? So my financial situation relevant to that. Market situation is not only relevant to the customer, but also it is relevant to the leadership also, strategy also, right? So these 5 results means results of the 6 sections I explained, right? 6 sections I explained, right? But I say 6 section I explained in nutshell, because no much time to go details, right? But with responsibility, I would say that I will transfer the relevant knowledge with respect to each and every criterion, right? With respect to each and every criterion, I am transferring the relevant knowledge, right? But when you go through the National Quality Award criteria, you can have further detail, right? You can have further detail, right? So results very significant. Results means nothing if you perform well with respect to your early 6 section, right? Then what would be the results? Results will be you will be the winner of the National Quality Award, right? Then we will see how about our evaluation process, right? How about the evaluation process? This evaluation carried out by team, right? No any quality award will be granted by an individual assessor, individual auditor, right? It is a team, right? It is a team. Team means at least 2 or more than 2 people, right? In case of our team, at least 3 or more than, right? No even 2, right? So individually, they do the evaluation, right? When they do individual evaluation, they don't know who are the other participants with respect to their team. At the end of the individual evaluation, they do a team evaluation. That is called consensus, second part, right? Consensus means individually we evaluate and provide marks out of 1,000, right? Out of 1,000, right? Then I will provide, we would say 80 marks. My other person provides 70 marks. Other person provides 40 marks. Then we have to come to a conclusion that what's the final mark? It is not the average of 80, 60 and 40, but we have to disguise, right? We have to justify why I granted 80 and why he granted 60 and why the other fellow granted 40. Ultimately come to a conclusion and decide the mark. Maybe as 90, right? Maybe as 70, right? So like that, right? So that is the consensus, right? Team conclusion, right? Team conclusion, right? And then we go for a real operation. We come to your organization to see whether you are carrying out those practices. Why? we do until that moment, we are doing the evaluation based on the information provided by organization in writing, right? In writing, you have to provide a booklet. Based on that, we do the evaluation. When we come to the site, we can see the practices. We can interview an employer. We can ask about how about your work process practices, right? We can interview top management, and we can check about how about the leadership strategy. We can go through your strategy. Then we can see about how about the corporate plan and operational plan. We can check about the operation, how about the operational effectiveness and like. So that is site visit, right? At the end of site visit, once again, the team get together and finalize the marks or amend the mark, review the mark, right? Then the team leader provide the recommendation to the committee called review committee. Review committee comprises SLSI members as well as industry experts, right? The subject area experts, right? So the review committee finally decide who are the winners, who are the merit award winners, who are the commendation certificate recipients, right? And still they cannot make the final decision. They have to provide the final decisions to the panel of judges. Panel of judges comprise with SLSI senior management, right? Ministries of some secretaries of some ministries, right? Veterans in the industries, right? Even as the name implied, one judge from Supreme Court, right? One judge from Supreme Court with respect to legal aspects, right? Such a panel of judges, right? So finally, panel of judges decide who are the winners, who are the merit award winners, and who are the commendation certificate recipients, right? That is our evaluation process. At the end of the announcement of the winners by the panel of judges, we will provide in detail feedback report providing your positive and negative things to your organization, right? In my case, as assessor having more than 20 years experience, what I have to say is with respect to your organization, that is the most significant thing. Why? It provides the improvement opportunity to your organization. It provides the in and out of your organization, with the idea of external team having expertism with respect to this criteria, total quality management criteria, right? Business excellence criteria, performance excellence criteria, right? So even if you consider our past, sometimes they are the first of all merit award winners, right? Then they consider our feedback report, they fill the gap, they invite us again for the next year award, maybe following the year award. We went there, we found that they perform very well, right? They perform very well, and we granted the award. There are sufficient examples like that, right? So feedback report is very significant with respect to organization. We also very much careful when writing the feedback report, because we have to say these are pluses, these are minuses, right? We should be very careful, right? Since it is where we have to be very careful about the feedback report. We have to carry out this assessment in thorough, right? In thorough manner, right? Otherwise, our feedback report will be nothing, right? Feedback report will be nothing, right? So that is our assessment process. That is our assessment process, right? At the end, what I have to say is, what does this award provide, right? It doesn't provide merely award, right? It doesn't provide merely award, right? It's very, very effective mechanism, right? For your organization, right? To work in a challenging environment, right? It is very effective mechanism to work under a challenging environment, because it based on the strategy, start from strategy, right? It starts from the strategy, it starts from the planning, right? Then the implementation, right? Then modification of planning, and once again implementation, continuous process, right? So because of that, it is very significant, right? It is very significant, and it is combining your customer, right? It is providing opportunity to get the engagement of your people, right? It is combining your customer as well as the supplier, right? Right? And it improve the governance of the organization as well as ethics of the organization. It's improve the societal responsibility. Societal responsibility means, once again, as I said, how do you contribute? How does your organization contribute to the economy, environment, and social improvement of your organization, of the country, right? Of the country, right? Then at the end, it will lead for very competitive situation, and you can sustain your organization, right? Since it is based on the triple bottom line, once again, before also I mentioned, right? So ultimately, it's a very comprehensive model, right? Why? It starts from strategy, right? It starts from strategy, right? And it cover all the operations, right? Starting, and it cover across the hierarchy, senior management to lower the fellow, right? Across the operation 2A, right? I said that key operation that comes under section 6, key operation. Then the support operation, I said that business enablers, just like the workforce management, IT, cybersecurity, and those things I mentioned that, right? So those things, right? So it's very comprehensive approach. So at the end, what I have to say is quality award is not only award, right? At the end, you may have a thing called award, right? You can happy on that. Rather than award, you can have a lot of improve, right? Your image will be improved, right? You will be benchmarked by others, right? You will be in a very competitive situation since you are considering about the triple bottom line as explained by this the requirement, right? So so considering everything, National Quality Award, what I have to say is very significant thing, right? So considering the time frame, I explained in nutshell, but I said that with responsibility, I said that I transfer the relevant knowledge with respect to the basic requirement of the National Quality Award, right? But I know that this is not the end. You may have a lot of queries, information, right? For that purpose, you can contact me, right? You can contact me. I said that I am from Quality Assurance Division of SLSI. My email address is there. My mobile number even also there, right? My mobile number also there. As well as this award is coordinated by the Standard and Services Promotion Division of SLSI. Standard and Services Promotion Division of SLSI. You can contact anytime them, right? I mentioned the email number of the particular division, right? I mentioned their general number, dssp@slsi.lk, right? The senior deputy director is there, Mr. Mohan, right? His the email address also there, my mobile number also there. If you have any queries with respect to that, you can contact us, right? We will guide for the awards, right? We will guide for the award, right? Maybe under manufacturing sector, maybe under the service sector, maybe under the healthcare sector, or maybe under the educational sector, right? Educational sector comes under large, medium, and small category, right? So this is the time for any questions, right? And this is the time for question and answer session, right? I will stop the sharing of the presentation and we will start the question and answering. You can type the questions, I will answer. First question, it says, can we apply for 2 categories? If you consider your organization, it cannot be large, medium, small combination, either large, small, or like that. But it may be under service category. We would say you have service category as well as especially you have healthcare sector like that, then there will be a possibility. But still, I would say that when we are considering specifically, you will come under 1 category. If you consider about your business, if you consider about your operation, then we can say, right? Manufacturing and healthcare, it may be 2 organizations, I think, because healthcare is a service sector basically. Manufacturing is a manufacturing sector, right? But still, we can further clarify the things if you call us, right? Another person is asking, can you share the presentation? Already presentation available with EDB, right? I don't know whether they are recording this session also. Yes, they are recording. They are recording. I think Miss Helmali and Miss Achini will make arrangement to provide the presentation and even the recording. Am I correct, Miss Achini?
Yes, yes, we can do that. Okay.
Right, right. Then one question is there. We do pharmaceutical manufacturing. Then you comes under the manufacturing sector, basically. Healthcare sector, actually, basically, it's services relevant. That means hospital and like that, right? Hospital, nursing service centers and like that, right? Pharmaceutical sector, basically, you comes under the manufacturing, but based on the operations you do, we will see you whether we can classify you as under the few organizations as under the healthcare sector. But according to my experience, usually comes under the manufacturing sector, right?
And Mr. Mahagama, there's another question coming under the chat box.
Yes.
That is says, when is the application calling date for this year award?
Yes. I want to inform at the end of this presentation and question, right? Within these 2 months, within the next 2 months, because actually, if you consider our procedure, if you consider today's context, we shall finish the calling of application. But due to the situation of the country, we couldn't, right? But within the next 2 months, we call the application, right? We call the application. You can have the application from the standard and services department. I said the email address, I said my email address and like that. You can have the application from us, right? You can have the information from us, application from us. You have to accordingly complete the application and submit to us, right? Still, we didn't start the collection of application, calling of application for this year, right? I think that I provided the answer. Any questions further?
Any further questions from the audience? Participants, you may have questions. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Mahagamage, for your comprehensive presentation. I guess the participants could get a very good overview of the National Quality Awards procedure and what you should do, and inside what developments you can get, all these things. So may I ask all the participants now to fill the EDB webinar survey form, which has already sent you all. And also, I suppose you have all provided your email addresses so that we can send you the presentation. Is it okay, Mr. Mahagamage, sharing?
Yeah, you can provide my presentation, even the recording.
Okay.
No, right?
Yes.
You are welcome.
Okay. Okay. Any more questions before conclude once again from the participants?
There is another question, no?
The question, yes.
No, it's the email address.
One chat question. That's email, no?
Please email presentation.
Okay, we can do it. Question and answer session. Yes. Okay. Since there are no further questions, let us conclude today's session. Once again, thank you very much for Mr. Mahagamage. Actually, this webinar today we organized on the request of the advisory committee members of the National Quality Award, Quality Infrastructure. Mr. Mahagamage is also a member of it. And actually, as the committee, we have identified the importance of improving the quality aspect of our organizations as a whole and the improvement of products. So by encouraging you all to apply this sort of awards, your organizations can improve, and also finally the output, that is the product or the services, will improve, and you will have a competitive edge at the international market. By saying so, thank you very much for your participation. Thank you very much, Mr. Mahagamage.
Okay. Welcome.